So I am so excited. This is Girls Guide to Greatness podcast. We're going live with you today. That's Friday. It's May 8th. We're freaking killing it. And I've got a special guest with me on the show. I'm so pumped. She is a mom. She is an entrepreneur. She is killing it. I love having these types of women on the show because they are strong individuals. They have a light that loves sharing with the world, and they're helping people left and right. And she is here on the show because she is a world-renowned personal trainer, coach, and she helps people lose weight, feel great, and freaking crush it in their health and fitness. AlCINE, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited too. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a while. You already know this because you're one of the first people I reached out when I started my podcast, and I'm like, oh, I want to have like these great, like strong female, entrepreneurs, business moms, all these women who are actually doing great things in the world, and you were one of my top choices. So I'm so excited that you're here, and the reason I want you here on my show is because I feel you've got this amazing story that you can share with the world. So I would love to know, and I think the audience would love to know, how you got started doing what you do and why you do it. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. So when I was in high school, I was actually pretty active. I used to run track. I was in ROTC. And then I graduated and I got married. And I got married kind of fast. And when you're young and in love, you kind of get caught up. And next thing you know, I realized I didn't really know who I married, and depression started kicking in. And next thing you know, I went from the cute little 165, 175, athletic girl up to 315 pounds depressed and just not happy with myself, not happy with my life, not happy with the way I looked, not happy with the way I felt. So I decided one day that I needed to do something about it, and I decided to go to a Zumba class. So I was living in Texas at the time. I was living in Fort Worth, well, actually North Richland Hills, and I went to the 24-hour fitness there, and I took my very, very first Zumba class. And that very first Zumba class, I was awful. I had no rhythm. In fact, I'm so embarrassed to say this, but it's true. I tripped a girl in the class, and she actually fell and busted her lip.
No. Oh my goodness.
So, that normally would deter people from ever going back to the class. But I was like, no, I really want to go back because I did enjoy it. I just decided I'm going to go back, but I'm going to go all the way in the back into the right corner away from everybody so they're safe.
So you can't hurt anybody else.
Exactly. So I went back, and like a month later, I started getting the moves. I started making friends within the class. I made friends with the instructor. And then, I started, really getting comfortable. I moved back up to the front again. I felt good. And I think it took about maybe 3 or 4 months of me taking Zumba. I had lost about 30 pounds. So like I said, I was 315. I lost about 30 pounds. And my Zumba instructor looks at me and she goes, you know what? You should become a Zumba instructor. And I looked at her and I laughed. Because Eliana, her name is Eliana Ceballos. She is gorgeous. I mean, just gorgeous. She's tall, lean, Brazilian, long flowy hair. You're what you would look at when you would think of an instructor. Like, she was the picture perfect model of an instructor. And I'm like, looking at me like, I don't know if you notice, I'm a big girl. I don't think people are going to want to come to a class to see a big girl if that's their goal is to lose weight. And she said, well, AlCINE, one, if you are teaching, you're going to be at the gym. And I'm like, good point. She's like, and you're going to get paid to work out. I'm like, okay, another good point.
Yeah.
And she said, and honestly, AlCINE, people are not always looking for people like me. They're looking for people like you too.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. So I decided to go ahead and register to get my Zumba license. A week later, I got Zumba toning. And 2 weeks after that, I got my RIP certification. And then about a month after all of that, I ended up moving back to Germany, which is where I grew up. And I went to get a job. And I wanted to teach Zumba because that's what I was comfortable with. Because ripped, don't get me wrong, I love that class, but that was a class that I just did because it sounded cool and they were offering at the gym that I ended up subbing at.
And what exactly is ripped? What exactly is that?
Because
I think people know what Zumba is. That's more, that's more well known. But what exactly does ripped encounter? Yeah.
So ripped is a multidisciplinary class. So you're literally doing everything. They call it the one-stop body shop. So it's an acronym. The R in ripped is resistance, where you're working biceps, triceps, and shoulders. Then you go into interval training. So that's going to be your cardio portion. Then you go into power. That's working your big muscle groups, your metabolic muscle groups, so legs, chest, glutes, and back. Then we go into plyometrics. So that's your sports like athletic training. And then endurance, kickboxing. And then depending on the class, if you have enough time, we do a bonus core section, and then you're done. So you're literally doing everything in 1 hour. And it's a great class. It's,
Easy.
I mean, it is now my favorite class, but at the time I was not ready to teach that class because I could even do a push-up, you know? So when I applied for the job, you know, they were like, well, you know, we have enough Zumba instructors. What's this RIP class? And I'm like, okay. So I told them, they're like, oh, that's awesome. We have nothing like that. We want you to teach that. And I'm like, okay, I need a job. All right. So at the time I was working on the base in Kaderbach Kaserne, which is in Bavaria part of Germany. And so they didn't actually have a group X room. They usually use the basketball court or the racquetball courts. So they started me in a racquetball court, and I had 4 people in my class the first day. The second day I had 14 people. The third day I had 80 people in my class.
No way.
I remember walking in and they're telling me that, AlCINE, we had to move you out of the racquetball court and put you on the basketball court because you have a lot of people for your class today.
That's
I said,
amazing.
really? And I walked in and there was 80 people. And I busted into tears because I could not believe, because I'm still the big girl. I could not believe that these people, one, you know, heard about me. The people that took the class, you know, obviously were running their mouth and they liked the class. And 3, they trusted me with everything that I had to get them in shape. So after that, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I gave my 100%. I kept my class numbers up and I just kept going. So I did that for about a year. And I even did a transformation of my class. So if people go to my Facebook page, they can actually go back and look at pictures of people who took my class and their before and afters over a course of a year.
That's amazing.
And so then I was like, you know, I had people coming to me like, AlCINE, I love your class. Do you do personal training? And I'm like, no, I never even thought about being a personal trainer, you know? So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and venture into that field. So I got my personal training certification, but me being who I am, I never like to be like everybody else, you know? So I was like, if I'm going to do personal training, I want to go all in. And I realized just for my own weight loss that you have to have good, you know, a good exercise regimen. You need to be consistent. You need to learn how to eat well, which a lot of people don't realize. Eating healthy doesn't mean that you're eating right. You know what I mean? So I wanted to be able to educate my clients on all facets of fitness and health, you know, and living a healthy life. So I also got my nutrition certification as well. So then after that, you know, I got addicted to learning about fitness. And because I mean, you know, when you're getting clients as a personal trainer and you get that certification, you learn, you know, what I like to call the cookie cutter plan, you know, on the basics of what you would need to do to help somebody. But the clients that I was getting, because I wanted everybody, I didn't care who they were, what walks of life they came from. I started getting clients that I wasn't familiar with. Like one lady had fibromyalgia. I knew what fibromyalgia was, but I didn't know how to train somebody with fibromyalgia.
Right.
So I went and took a class on fibromyalgia, you know. Then I started getting people with diabetes. I knew what it was, but how do you train someone with diabetes? How do you, I recommend a good diet for them. So I just started absorbing everything I could about every, you know, comorbidity or disease or disability that I could find so that I could really, really be able to help as many people as I could. And so that's been 10 years. So this started back in, you know, in 2009. Here we are 10 years later.
And you're just like stacking. You're stacking it and then just continuously and building your confidence, I'm sure, as you push forward with this journey. So that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. And, you know, and something too that I think that is very important for everybody to know, you know, personal trainers are people too. And I like to be very transparent at all times with my friends, with my clients, and just people who follow me, you know, because it's not easy. You know, it's easy to lose weight, but it's not easy to keep it off. You know what I mean? Like people, they can lose weight all the time. And I hear it all the time, like, oh, I lost 30 pounds. I lost 20 pounds. But did you keep it off? Maintenance is probably the hardest part of a fitness journey. And I am a testimony to that because I ended up losing 140 pounds within those first 3 years of me becoming a fitness trainer. And I got so, you know, ripped and sculpted that I was confident enough to compete in my very first bodybuilding competition. And I actually won second place. The person who
Nice.
beat me was actually one of my clients and girls who took my
Oh,
class.
that's right. I remember you telling me this story. Yeah, that was
Yes.
amazing. I was like, what's it? That's a good, it's got to be a good feeling that at least you got beat out by your client. I mean, you must be
Oh
doing
yeah.
something right.
And she was fabulous. Like, I mean, her name was Erica Rogers, and we're still friends to this day. Like, one thing I loved about Erica, we always called her Guns because she had these just nice arms and shoulders. Her back, like, I was obsessed with her back. Like, oh, that is goals for me. I want a nice strong back. Like, not every female wants that, but
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
I want the pumpkin shoulders. I want the back that makes an X when you flex it. Like, I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff. And her body did that. Her body just responded like that, and I
Yeah.
loved it. And that's why she won. Like, she was fabulous,
That's
And
amazing.
so, like, after that competition, I wanted to do another one, but then I found out I was pregnant, and so I had my son. He's 3 now, and like when I had my son, it was pretty good because I worked out my entire pregnancy. I worked out until the day that I gave birth. So I was very healthy throughout my pregnancy. I only gained 23 pounds in my pregnancy, which is, the recommended weight.
Right.
I was very, very happy. After I had my son, within a week, I was back to my pre-pregnancy weight, so I was doing good. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, I went on the scale and I noticed that my weight was starting to creep back up again.
Uh-oh.
And it kept creeping and it kept creeping and it kept creeping. And before I knew it, I was 253 pounds. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened here? And then, I had to like step back and I had to think about what has changed in my life besides my son. Because I mean, yes, he changed my life, but
Right.
what was I doing differently, before I had my son that I'm not doing now? And I realized, one, I wasn't exercising like the way I was before because I have my son. 2, I wasn't eating like the way I was before because now I was just trying to eat where I could because I was so exhausted from my son.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of different things that were, a lot of different factors that were contributing back to my weight gain. And here I am, a personal trainer telling people how to lose weight. And here I went back up again.
Yeah.
So now, I'm back down again. I'm down
Awesome.
17 pounds again, and I mean, with that, it was me finding my why all over again, and I feel like everybody, I don't care who you choose to train with, or if you're training on your own, the why is probably the most important thing that you have to have.
What's
when
yours?
You're making a decision about any goal it is. It doesn't have to just be fitness.
Yeah. What's your goal? What's your why?
My why is I want to be healthy enough to be able to keep up with my son because I'm 35. I had my son late, and as a woman, as you get older, your body's going to continually change, and I want to be that mom that I don't care if my son is 16. I want to be able to keep up with him. I don't care how old I am. I want to be able to keep up with him. So my why was I want to be be there for my son. And
That's
I
awesome.
also want to be an example for my son.
Yeah.
I want him to know what it is how important it is to have a healthy life because, instilling that in him when he's young, it will be easier for when he's older, because a lot of people, like one thing that I realized from my childhood, my mom always told me I had to clear my plates,
Oh, yep. I remember.
and a
Yeah,
lot of
that was
parents make that mistake.
yeah.
They
I
make that
remember doing
mistake.
that in my house too.
Yep. Clear your plate. Kids in Africa are starving. Clear your plates. But if the child is full, now you're encouraging them to overeat. Then that sticks in their head. So that when they get older, if they make themselves a big plate, even if they're full, they're going to continue to eat because that's already been instilled in them that they need to clear their plate.
Right.
People should not eat till they're full. They should eat till they're satisfied. And so now, like with my son, if he doesn't finish eating, okay, you don't have to eat it. We're just going to wrap it up. You're going to eat it later. You'll see that food again.
Alcine, this actually makes me remember, I read an article that said that actually to get that satisfied feeling, the feeling of being satiated actually happens 15 minutes after we have our meal. So we kind of have to wait for your brain and your body to register that, okay, we ate a meal, we actually feel full and we don't need to eat anymore, but we don't even allow ourselves that time to kind of chill out and, let that sit in. And so we're continuously eating even before we feel that feeling of being satiated. Is that true? I mean, I read that article.
Well, that is, and there's a little bit more to that a lot of people don't realize. Because let me ask you this: are you one of those people that eat and drink at the same time?
Sometimes, depending. I heard that you're supposed to wait until after you eat to drink.
Exactly. You should wait at least 30 minutes after you eat to drink.
Oh, 30 minutes. I may not wait that long, but I do sometimes wait afterwards. Yes.
Yeah, you should. I mean, it's hard to wait 30 minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
I would, that's the recommendation is at least 30 minutes. Like drink 30 minutes before a meal, drink 30 minutes after a meal.
Oh, got
Like
it.
that's the
Yeah.
recommendation. But what I tell people is just don't eat or don't drink while you're eating.
Right. Yes.
Because what ends up happening is, you can actually end up overeating while you're drinking and eating because your body is not registering that this liquid is taking up space and this food is taking up space.
Mm.
Because it takes about 30 minutes for your body to tell your stomach to tell your brain, hey, we're good down here.
We're good. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah,
Now that you're doing this and you're actually down again, you found your why, you're crushing it. So, what are some of the tips and tricks that you can actually share with the ladies out there, or with anyone who they just can't get the motivation? They're a mom like you. They've got a lot going on. How do they get back into the game? They've seen the scale go up and down, and they're tired of seeing that. So, any recommendations for them?
Yes. So with the motivation, people will ask me that question a lot. Like, how do you get motivated? Motivation literally is just at the end of the day as a decision that you make with yourself. It's a promise that you make to yourself. As a mother, you're motivated to get up and take care of your child.
Mm-hmm.
You will not let anything stop you from protecting and taking care of your child and providing for your child. That same energy that you do for others, you got to do for yourself.
That's good.
Because at the end of the day, if you're not taking care of me first, you can't be there for everybody else.
Right.
If you're not making sure you're healthy and getting rest and making sure you're nourished, you're not going to be able to be there for your children. So you have to put yourself first.
So
and I know some people
right?
feel
You have
selfish.
to commit. You got to you have to basically commit. So if you're committed to taking care of your kid, you got to be committed to taking care of yourself as well.
Exactly. So that's what my number one thing would be, that you got to think about you first. And I know it's very hard for moms to do that.
Right.
But you have to do it. You have to do it. And then another thing too, you got to make a plan. You can't just wake up one day and say, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym. Well, what are you going to do at the gym? And think about why you're doing what you're doing. Because I mean, I see girls, like, my favorite term is cardio bunnies. I'm not against cardio. Let me make that very clear. But I am against anybody who thinks that one form of exercise is going to get them the results they want.
Right.
You need everything. You need cardio. You need strength training. You need mobility and flexibility. You need rest.
Yes. It's funny because when I used to be a personal trainer, because Alcine and I go way back to Beachbody days, and I've been a personal trainer myself and Beachbody coach, so we can speak the same speak. But I would remember seeing clients that would say, I would ask them, okay, so what is your plan on eating? And they would tell me, oh, I had a salad today, I'm winning. And I'm like, okay, great. But like, what else? Like, people think they have this, we've been conditioned to think, oh, you got to just, I'll be good if I just walk, a mile and I'll eat a salad every once in a while. And you think that you're going to see results from that. And there's so much more to it. And that's why I believe it's important to have a personal trainer and a coach, especially in the beginning days when you still got to kind of like really recondition, retrain yourself on the proper ways on how to get optimal results. I mean, maybe a salad will help here and there. Maybe you walking is good, but are you going to see optimal results? Are you going to actually get to your goal that you're looking for, right?
Exactly. And I couldn't agree with you more. And like, I realize that it's just people are uneducated, and then it doesn't help, I mean, internet is great. I mean, it allows us to connect right now, but there's so much information on the internet. If you are someone who is sedentary, or what we like in the Y world call a health seeker, you are going to go on the internet and you're like, okay, I want to lose weight. You're going to Google, how do I lose weight? You're going to have tons of articles. They're going to tell you all these different things, but none of them are researched. You know what I mean? Like they're not tangible things. Like one thing that I saw that made me laugh was the cabbage diet. Now the cabbage diet goes way back to my mom. And I see that the cabbage diet has come back in some places again. Oh. And, they're like, oh yeah, you need to cleanse your body with the cabbage diet. All you're going to do is eat cabbage and drink water for 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Eat cabbage, drink water. And yeah, people are going to lose weight. Yeah, you're going to drop weight, but what are you really losing in that weight loss? Because real weight loss, or, what people think is weight loss for them, they're thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to get the 6-pack abs, I'm going to have the toned arms, the lean legs. Weight loss like that's not going to happen. It's not going to make you look like that. In fact, it's going to make you look skinny fat. you know,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to look soft. You're going to look, you know, squishy. You know what I mean? You're going to be smaller, but that's because you've lost the lean muscle mass in your body, because in that weight loss of, you know, essentially starving yourself and not exercising and not feeding your muscles, you are actually atrophying everything in your body.
Oh, wow.
And not only that, or not only you're atrophying your body, but you're also messing up with your organ function. You know, everything in your body is a well-tuned, you know, I don't like to use the term machine, but we'll just go with that right now. But it's a well-tuned machine that God designed you perfectly,
Right.
you know, and he provided you with everything you needed on this earth so that you can function perfectly.
Yeah.
So if you're not eating things that are, grown out of the ground or God made, you know, you are actually setting yourself up for failure. You know, people wonder why we have so much cancer nowadays, why we have so much, you know, coronavirus even. You know, like, it's because of, one, people are going to process foods. And let's be real, there are people out there that, you know, have realized that, if I'm going to make the most money, I got to do it the easiest, cheapest way. So I'm going to just throw all kinds of stuff in there, you know, just to make it to where people will buy it and it'll be affordable and I can make the most money. Yep. Not realizing that they're slowly killing people, you know.
It's a terrible thing.
Like, I'll tell you something that just like blew my mind. This has nothing to do with food, but it kind of does. But Teflon pans. Okay, people love Teflon pans because it's non-stick, right? Easy cleanup.
Chemicals.
Do you know what binds the Teflon to the pan?
I know it's chemicals. I don't use Teflon because of that.
Formaldehyde.
Oh, I knew it was something. Oh, didn't they do a test? I remembered back when I was with a company that sold vitamins. And so I got really into figuring out how to live healthy. And they did a test to see about the Teflon pans on the stove. And they had a bird in a cage. And they had, like, I don't know, some sort of test going on. But the bird died basically of the fumes coming off the Teflon pan. I'm like, oh my God.
If you go to like Sears or any of those places that sell those, even Walmart, on the Teflon, if you look at the cover, it actually has a warning label to when you first cook with it, do not have small children or small animals around. Because terrible. The fumes that emits. Now you got to think about it. Those fumes are emitting. That fumes are also getting in your food. You know, so yes, it may be easy cleanup, but what else is getting in your food?
It's crazy.
What I mean? And you got to also think about it like this too. If that's just at home, what's happening at these restaurants that are trying to do easy cleanup too?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So I can go really deep and going on tangent on that.
Exactly.
But it's just, you know, it's one of those things that I've learned over the last 10 years that a lot of people don't even think about. They don't, and it's because they're uneducated.
You know, there's
and it's not their fault per se because.
Oh, I was going to say, I was going to add on to that about the educated, that they're not educated. I did want to recommend a book talking about the Teflon and all these other things that we don't really think about. It was a book I read years ago called The Healthy Home. So if anybody wants to check that out, but it really does let you know. It also talks about the water as well, like not drinking water after. I think it does talk about that in there as well, but they give you all a long list of all these things that we're constantly exposed to on a regular basis and we have no clue. It's like, because it's invisible to us until someone tells us, hey guys, and they're pointed out, okay, you've got chemicals in your pans, you've got chemicals in your dishes and in your food and all this crazy stuff. So it's called The Healthy Home. They should check it out. You can get it anywhere, but I just wanted to add that out there because if they do want to take it upon themselves to get educated, that's a good place to start.
Yes, and I mean, I love that you're providing them with resources because I mean, I would like for people to start educating yourselves. You know, don't just listen to everything that you see or, you know, and hear on Facebook or any type of social media. Because I mean, it cracks me up when I see certain things posted, you know, or reshared. And I'm like, did you even look that up, you know, to make sure that what you shared was actually true? You know, and especially when it comes to fitness, like, you know, I'm not a diet basher. Okay, so I want to just put that out there. I'm not a diet basher, you know, because I've learned that diets for some people, about 10% of the population, there is a diet for everybody. Okay, there's a diet for everybody that will work for them. Keto will work for 10% of people. Atkins will work for 10% of people. Paleo will work for 10% of people. You know, it just depends on what you're doing. It will work. But at the end of the day, like what I've learned with all these diets that they all have in common is when somebody decides, I'll just use keto. again, not bashing keto, but just I'm going to use that for my example right now, is that they're like, okay, I decided to go keto. I'm like, okay, great. They're like, yeah, I've lost so much weight. Like, really? So how are you eating? What are you eating? They're like, well, I've cut out the carbs. I've cut down my portions. I've increased my exercise. I'm like, so essentially you're telling me that you reduced your calorie intake and increased your activity.
Right. That's like the
And
basic
for those who
foundation
don't
of
know,
any health and
I'm
fitness
sorry?
plan. That was going to say that's
That,
like the basic foundation, right, of any health and fitness
that
plan, whether
is
it be
the
plant-based or
tried and
keto.
true. That is the tried and true way to lose weight, is make sure you're putting out more calories and you're taking
Yes.
it.
Basically,
That's it.
you can call it anything you want. You can wrap it up in any kind of, label or whatever you want to call it, or whatever the keywords, that are being used nowadays. You can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, you're paying attention to your nutrition, you're paying attention to your fitness. Wow.
Yep.
I love it.
All it did, like those diets like that, all it did is make them aware. And, and that's why I'm
Yes.
not against it.
Right.
Because
It's
I'm
good.
like, if that's
They're
what it
learning.
takes to get you aware, right,
Right.
and make you cognizant of what you're putting in your body and what you're doing with your body, then I'm for it.
Yes.
But I hope that they take more from it, and realize that that's what it was, is that, I just reduced my calorie intake and I increased my
Yes.
activity,
So,
because that's the tried and true way.
what about when habits come into play? Because I think habits have I think we talked about this briefly, but as far as maintaining, so they got into the keto or they got into the plant-based, whatever they chose, their way of paying attention to their health and fitness, and they finally gained the motivation that they needed to move forward and make things happen. And you were talking about earlier how we can actually hold on to that. So what about actually changing our habits on a deeper level, so then we can actually, just incorporate this and make it second nature as we move through our lives in the future? Any tips on that?
See, and I think that's the problem, is like when people do diets, they're looking for the end. You know what I mean? They're looking for that end result. They have that, I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to get to this size dress, or I'm losing weight for a wedding, or I'm trying to, whatever it is. And then once they get to that part, everything they did up to that, they stop.
Yeah.
They go back to they're like, well, now I've earned that cake, or I've earned, this. And then they end up, that consistent habit they built before. Now they turned the consistency to the negative side. You know what I mean? And now they're back where they started. And next thing you know, they're gaining their weight back. Now, again, I'm not telling people that you can't have cake, but I do not want people to think that because you were so consistent that you need to reward yourself like a pet, telling yourself good job. You're not a dog.
Yes.
Okay?
I had a trainer that told me the same thing.
Yourself.
I had a trainer that told me the same thing when I first started doing health and fitness. He said, don't reward yourself with food. You're not a pet. You're not a dog, right? It's exact same thing concept. So instead, I started rewarding myself with going shopping or out with my friends, more things that kind of still lifted my spirit. Still, I was able to celebrate, but not necessarily with food, and it's like getting back to that good relationship with food, where food is there for a reason. It's there to make you feel good and to make you energetic and to make you healthy, right? It's not really supposed to be there as a crutch, and we're not supposed to lean into it as such, right? To kind of, we're not supposed to allow it to really control us. So it's like on a mental level, we have to start really thinking about that differently. And I think that, again, it always comes back to knowing your resources, educating yourself, and relying. If you don't know how to do it yourself, go get someone in your corner, an expert, a coach in your corner to help you identify this, break those old patterns, and then get back to a healthy state, and not just a healthy state with your body, a healthy state with your mind. So I love this.
Yes. And see, and that's something else too, like, and I want to put that out there, because I mean, yes, I'm a personal trainer. Of course, I would love for everybody to sign up with me, but I'm realistic. At the end of the day, when you are looking for a trainer, I want to give some tips regarding that. When you're looking for a trainer, first of all, you want to make sure they're certified. And you want to make sure they're certified with an accredited association, okay? So you can look up these accredited associations: ACSM, NASM, AFA, ACE, ISSA. You can look them up and you can see who's accredited. And you want to make sure that they have the experience. You want to make sure that they were able to get people results. And the most important thing, because they can have all that, but the most important thing is make sure your trainer's on the same page as you, okay? Because as trainers, we have goals for our clients, because we can see potential in you that maybe you didn't see. But if that is not aligning with your personal goal, you need to talk with your trainer about that. Okay. Because
Yeah.
not every trainer is right for the, for every person. There is a trainer for everyone, but not every trainer is right for every person.
Right.
Because like, I
Yeah.
know me, like, I'm a very nice person. I smile a lot. I laugh a lot. But people that have trained with me, they'll tell you right away, that smile will go away. I become a drill sergeant because I'm not going to accept excuses, and I'm not going to accept any less from you. And some people respond to that. And I've learned that some people don't respond to that. Some people like that, okay, great job, sweet voice. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I know what type of trainer I am. So usually when I have a client, that's one of the things that we talk about is, what is the type of training style do you respond to? So make sure that you know your trainer's philosophy, that what their goals are for you, and that they understand your goals for yourself. And also make sure that they are licensed and accredited, and that they're operating within their scope. Because like another thing too, with me being a nutritionist, I'm a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. That means that I can give you nutritional advice, I can give you recommendations, but I cannot prescribe you anything.
Got it.
Okay. And in the state of Georgia, it is absolutely illegal for me to prescribe a meal plan unless I go through a dietitian, So usually that's where a collaboration happens if I'm able to do that. But in the state of Georgia, a nutritionist is not allowed to prescribe a meal plan. Some states allow nutritionists to do so, but you need to know if your personal trainer, if they're selling you a meal plan and they're not a dietitian or a nutritionist, they're selling you probably something that they found or that they made up. Okay. So they're allowed to give you nutritional advice. Like me, a nutritional advice thing I like to give is make sure you're drinking at least half your body weight in ounces of water a day, minimum, or make sure you're getting a certain amount of protein. I've learned that some people, like, let's say if I made a meal plan for somebody, what if they were allergic to something in the food that I recommended for them? Or what if they were taking certain medication that if they were eating a certain, herb that I recommended doesn't, it can counteract their medication. This is where the dietitian comes in. So, you want to make sure that the person that you hire is operating within their scope,
That's good to know. So as far as you and what you are doing with your clients, what's going on with you, what you're doing right now? Are you holding any challenges? Do you do boot camps? Like, I know all these things, I've seen a lot of stuff online, where people doing all these great things, including yourself. So how can people get involved if they like what you have to say right now on the show? They were excited about what, maybe perhaps working with you or finding out more. What's going on in your life? What are you providing to your clients and all the good stuff that you're doing right now?
Well, with the pandemic going on, everything's gone virtual for me. So I am doing online personal training. I actually have an online personal training course that I'm doing. It's a Sculpt and Lean program that's specifically designed for women. It's a 4-week program. And it's for those women who've been working out, but maybe have hit a plateau or just want something different, a push, So that's what that plan is. And it's exactly that. You're getting everything in that program. You're getting strength training, you're getting a cardio portion, and you're even getting mobility. And I have a meal plan recommendation to go with it as well.
And so how can we sign up with
if they have no idea, it kind of gives them an idea of what to eat.
Okay. And yes.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Where can we find you?
So the easiest way to find me, I would say Instagram. AlcineXtreme, it's at AlcineXtreme Fitness. So the extreme, ALCINE Fitness.
Awesome.
And if they go to my link that I have in my Instagram profile, that actually has all the links to everything that connects you to me. It connects you to my website. It connects you to my my Facebook fitness page, my Facebook groups, my courses, and I have a new challenge that's actually beginning on June the 1st. It's called the Bet On It Challenge.
Yeah.
And the Bet On It Challenge, like, I actually did this challenge a few years ago. And I love this challenge. I like doing a challenge like this at least once a year because it's perfect for people who maybe have just fallen off track. And like right now, this pandemic, let's be honest, everybody's normalcy is gone. Some of us, like me, I took advantage of it and I started working out even harder. Some people, because they can't be in the gym, they're like, I'll do a little bit here and there. And next thing you know, they end up getting caught up in a new Netflix series. So, and that's okay, They lost their touch to their original thing they were doing. Because I know I have one girl, group exercise classes are her thing. So right now she's not able to do them because group exercise classes kept her accountable. Her instructor kept her accountable. The people in the class kept her accountable. Now she lost that accountability, so she kind of got a little lazy, and that's okay. So that's what this Bet On It Challenge is all about. It's giving you back accountability. But the way I'm going about it is you're going to put your money where your mouth is.
Oh,
Okay.
uh-oh.
6 weeks. You got
Nice.
6 weeks.
And so what's
6
that?
weeks
So
you have.
let's just say that I wanted to sign up and I put my money in there and I'm doing it. So what do I get at the end? What's the, not only do I get, of course, obviously health and fitness, but what's the financial benefit of this? I mean, do I
You're
win
winning
anything?
cold hard cash.
Oh, okay,
Yes, you're winning
awesome.
cash.
Oh,
You're
great.
winning
Okay.
cash, because the way this is going to work is, okay, so everybody pays their registration fee, right? And then we're going to have initial weigh-ins. You're going to have daily things that you have to do, weekly requirements that you're going to have to do. And if you miss anything, if you miss any pieces of it, you're going to have to pay for it. There's
Oh,
a
wow.
penalty fee for everything. And all that penalty money goes into the pot. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm adding to the pot as well, because I mean, you know, you never know. Maybe nobody messes up in the challenge, which is what I would hope. But either way, you're going to win cash at the end. Just if there's people messing up, there's going to be more cash to win at the end. So you get a $5 penalty for missing a weigh-in. You get a $5 penalty for missing your food log days. You get a $1 penalty for every pound you gain or for every inch you gain. So
Wow. This seems
there are
interesting. See,
penalties.
I love this because I was telling you that I love to keep things, fun and interesting. And I noticed when I was doing personal training, accountability and support were one of the top things on the list. Like people know basically what to eat
That
and
is
what
exactly
to
what this challenge
do.
is providing now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They kind of basically know what to do, but to have someone actually make sure that they're going to cross that finish line, that they're going to show up, that they're going to give it their best and stay committed. That's what we all really need. That's why I have my own coaches in my corner to help me go to the next level with my business or with my health and fitness. We all need someone, right? Support, a mentor or
Yes.
whatever it is. And so to be honest with you, when I was doing my personal training back in the day, I'm like thinking to myself when I first started doing it, I'm like realizing, hold on, they already know what to do. They're basically just paying me to talk to confide in,
Yep.
and have me hold them accountable. They just need someone in their corner to support them. But I love
Yep.
that. And I love that you're providing a platform for people and you're keeping it interesting, you're keeping it fun and having them engage in and building a community of other women who are going for the same kinds of goals. You guys speak the same speak. You're overcoming struggles, building confidence. And that is exactly why I love doing Girls Guide to Greatness and having amazing women on the show, because we do it together. We're in this together. This is amazing. Okay, so we know where to find you. And for those listening, I'm going to make sure I have all of this listed that we talked about in the show notes today. And I just want to thank Alcine. Alcine, is there anything else that you want to share before you head out?
Let's see.
What are your goals? What are your goals?
My goal, okay, so like I said to you guys in the beginning, I have become very comfortable with me. One part of that step of, I guess this Phoenix transformation,
Ooh,
because
yes.
I had to be broke all the way down and be reborn essentially. I had to first love myself, and one part of loving myself is realizing I'm not going to be what I thought in my mind perfect was. I'd rather just be me. And I think that that's very important for people to love themselves first,
Yes.
because at every stage, you got to love yourself. For me, you got to love yourself at 315. You got to love yourself at 195, 150, whatever your goal is. You got to love yourself at every stage of it, And so for me, I loved myself when I was bodybuilding, because even though I was very, very muscular and lean and everything else, a lot of people had no idea that I was still very close to 200 pounds. I was 195 when I crossed the stage, and I was okay with that because, yes, I was, higher on that number, but I looked amazing. And my legs, I've always had big legs, and my legs were just sculpted and just, oh, I just loved it. So like my goal now, I decided I don't want to be petite. I don't want to be, the quote unquote Instagram model girl. I don't want to be that at all. And I'm not against those girls at all. That's just not my personal goal. I want to be big. I want to be a power lifter now. I'm actually training across a power building. So it's powerlifting with bodybuilding. So I will have the strength of a power lifter, but look like a bodybuilder. So that is my goal now.
Nice. Okay.
Because I like being strong. Like I did my very first
Yes.
powerlifting competition this past March. And, it's so crazy. Last year I started deadlifting, and deadlift is my favorite exercise. And, you know, I got to 315. That was my 1 rep max. And I was excited. But then I went on Instagram and I found these girls who were deadlifting 500 pounds and they were smaller than me.
What?
And I'm like, oh, wow. So I'm like, yeah, I'm like, 315 is nothing. That's lightweight. So I had made a goal at the end of December that I was going to, you know, get to 400 pounds by the end of 2020. That was my goal. You know, I was like, you know, I can accomplish that within a year. Well, when I started training for that powerlifting competition, March 8th, a week before the competition, I got to 355 on my deadlift. So my new max was 355. I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm already at 355. Because I was just, you know, my goal for the competition was to deadlift 350. So I'd already beat that in just training. So my coach, he said, okay, when you go for your attempts, because you get 3 attempts, he said, when you go for your attempt, your first attempt, I want you to go for 315. Your second attempt, I want you to go for 360. Your third attempt is your choice.
So you're going, so you're going through so you're about to do the competition and you're actually in the middle of the competition. Your coach is telling you to go ahead and lift that up. Okay. So you're lifting this particular weight. Okay. Gotcha.
So I was like, okay, so I go for my first attempt. I do the 315. The 315 came up so fast that I actually rocked because it was that, like, it just came up so fast.
Wow.
You know, and I could not believe how light it felt. You know, so I'm like, okay, successful lift, you know, go for the 360. Again, it came up like nothing. You know, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I was just like, I'm telling you, like, I was like, when I was the high I felt, it was indescribable, right? So I'm like, okay, so for my third attempt, everybody's like, AlcineXtreme, go for 400, go for 400. And I'm like, well, I don't know. That's a, you know, that's a 40-pound jump. Like, oh, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try for 400. But then there was a girl, okay? She was sitting right next to me. Her name is Rhonda Sams. Rhonda Sams, she is about 40-something years old. She's been competing for the last 15 years. She's uber strong and smaller than me. She's like, AlcineXtreme, do 405. And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, AlcineXtreme, it's just 5 more pounds. And she's like, and it's 4 plates. It looks really pretty on the bar. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna just go for the 400 because I felt like if I failed at 400, it's okay. You know, 405, I feel like I was just trying to be cocky. And so I did the 400 and I got it up.
Oh, wow.
No problem.
Were you at that point? Were you at this? I was about to say, at that point, were you already in your mind like, oh, dang, I should have went for the 405?
Yes, but here's the cool thing. So since I had 3 successful lifts, I had the opportunity to go for a 4th lift to break a record.
Nice.
So at that time, so I competed with the Python League, which is here in Augusta. And so at that time, the record for my age class was 350 pounds. So I'd already broke the record. Nice. So now I was going to go for the record. So I was like, well, if I'm going to go for the record lift, I'm going to do the 405.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember, because I was, you know, before the competition, I remember how scared I was. I was thinking about all those people looking at me and the weight and everything else. And I remember Rhonda telling me, AlcineXtreme, when you get up there, you're not going to see them. Well, those first 3 lifts, I did see them because I was scared. That 4th lift, though, when I tell you, I did not see or hear anybody until the weight was all the way up.
Wow.
And when it came up, because I remember my boyfriend, like when I put it up and they they gave me the signal to put it down, and I dropped it down, my boyfriend ran up to me and got my knee wraps off of me. Like, I don't remember my knee wraps coming off because I was just in this, like, slow motion. Like, did I really just do that? Did I really?
Yeah, you were in the zone.
I met my goal in 3 months. I met my goal of 400 pounds, 405 in 3 months.
Wow.
You know?
That's amazing.
You know, so now, you know, I won't lie to you guys. My goal, I really want to compete. I want to go to the Arnold's. There's a girl right now, a strong woman right now. I saw her do a deadlift of 600 pounds. She's about my size. Wow. So that's where I'm at right now. So that's what the next few years is going to be looking at for me. I just want to get stronger and stronger and stronger.
This is amazing because I love your story of how you went literally in the middle of a competition, you know, going from the 300 series all the way up to the 4, because you had the right support, the right coach in your corner, building your confidence. And it's just amazing to see just how quickly that happened in such a short period of time, not only just in that competition, but over the previous months to get there and how quickly you rise to the top. So it's amazing. And I hope everyone listening and watching this actually realizes that you can do amazing things. You're capable of amazing things and you can get things done. Like, accomplish great, fantastic things in a very short period of time when you have laser sharp focus, when you've got the right people, the right resources to manifest your dreams and goals. That's what I say all the time, right? So if you need some help, if you need support, you now know you've got a trainer right here, Miss AlCINE. Go reach out to her. There's no excuse, right? There are all tons of resources that you girls and guys can reach out to, and to make things happen. No more excuses. Just turn off the TV. Turn off the TV. Go ahead. Reach out. She's going to help you cross the finish line. And I always like to say, coaches are not just there to help you cross the finish line, but they're to help you retrain you so you can continue moving past the finish line stronger, better, faster, healthier, happier, right? I love this.
Well, Rebecca, remember I told you because you know, like she said, we go way back. We've had lots of girl talk, and there was one day I was telling her that, you know, one thing that I've always believed as a trainer is that I don't think that anybody should be with a trainer more than 90 days. That's just my personal opinion. Yes. You know, this is not a fact or anything like that. I train people for more than 90 days. But for me, if after 90 days you're still training with me, you're literally paying to be my friend and for me to keep you accountable, you know, because I, as a trainer, I want to educate you so that you can take the tools that I taught you and apply it for the rest of your life. You should be able to learn how to adjust your, you know, your plans and your food and everything as you go through this journey of fitness. So for me, 90 days, you should be able to rock it out.
That's good.
Build a consistent life and everything else. So you know, you want right people in your corner. And not only that, you need to attract the right people in your corner. If you have people that don't believe that you can do, or, you know, oh my gosh, look, I'm in Georgia, you guys. Sorry about that. Bugs are crazy out here. But yeah, you know, if you don't have the right people that believe in you or support you, I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. You need to start removing those people.
Good point.
Okay, get them
out.
out.
Really good point.
You know, like you need to set yourself up for success. You need to be selfish with yourself, and you need to make sure that the people that you have are there for you, and you know are in the right mindset as you are. Because if they're not, they're going to just hold you back, and they're going to make you feel like you can't do it.
That's a great point, and that's another big reason why they need to sign up for your Bet On It challenge and your amazing 4-week plan. You've got all these great plans out there, so find the one that's right for you guys. AlCINE, thanks again for being on the show. I'm going to have this as a replay up on YouTube, on Facebook, on my podcast. So you're going to be everywhere, girl. You're going to be everywhere. So thank you so much again. I'm so excited. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.